Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me for this Art for Wellbeing class. If you haven't met me before, my name is Tamar and I'm really pleased that you're going to join me for a little bit of painting today. We're going to be painting a wintry scene inspired by Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. This is one of the world's most recognisable paintings, and what I love about it is the way you can see Van Gogh's brushstrokes and the way those lines swirl around in the sky, moving around the stars and the moon. And when you look at it, you can almost feel what Van Gogh must have been thinking and feeling when he was creating this painting. And the way you might use lines and colours today might reflect how you're feeling while making your painting. So all you're going to need for today's class is some paper, and I'm going to be using some thickish A4 watercolour paper, but any paper that you have will be fine. And I'm going to be using just some really basic paints, these ones here, but any watercolour paints, poster paints, acrylic paints that you have at home would be fine for this. You could use pastels, you could use crayons, even colour pencil or normal pencil. Whatever you have at home, I'm sure will be absolutely fine. Right at the end of the painting, I'm going to be adding some details using a white pen, but you could also use some thick white paint like a poster paint or acrylic paint for that, or you could even use something like a correction pen, like a Tipp-Ex pen for it too. Just have a little look to see what you've got at home that will do the job. So if you haven't drawn with me before, I'm just going to remind you of my two very important rules. The first rule is to focus on the process of drawing, not the outcome. So try not to plan what you're doing today. Just let your painting or drawing just kind of grow and evolve. Don't think about whether it's going well or whether it's good or bad or how it's going to turn out at the end. Just enjoy the process of making the drawing. And my second rule is to draw and paint along with me, but don't try and copy exactly what I'm doing. In fact, just let your painting go wherever you want it to. So whatever colours you feel like choosing today, whatever patterns, however you want to paint the tree or add in the details, just let it grow in its own way and not try to copy mine. In fact, let's just enjoy doing a little bit of painting together. So go and grab the materials you want to use and a beverage of choice, and I'll see you back in a mo. So there are just two elements to draw with your pencil. The first one is the snowy ground. I'm going to make mine a little bit of a hill today. Doesn't need to be in any way straight, as bumpy or however you want your snowy ground to be. It could be straight across, whatever you like. And then the second thing to draw is the moon, and again your moon can be anywhere. But I'm going to stick to put mine on this side of the paper, so I have the tree on this side just so it helps a little bit, so you can see where I'm going with it. But maybe just for a change, I'll put it a little lower today. So just something roughly circular. Take your time, rub out if you want to, and just fix it till you're happy with what you've got. You don't want your pencil line to be too dark, so if it is a little bit too dark, just rub it out a little bit so it's just faintly there so you can see it, and then get rid of all of your bits of rubber and you're ready to paint. So I'm going to paint my sky a nice wintry blue, and you can put as many different colours into your sky as you like. In this one I have some lighter blues, darker blues, purples, and it's all quite swirly in the style of Van Gogh. You could make it a very smooth, calm sky. You can do whatever you like with the colours, have lots of different colours in it. So really do whatever you want. I'm going to start with this blue colour here, just with some water, and then just mixing up a bit of paint. And I'm going to use it directly from this colour, I'm not going to mix it. There's another blue in my set which is a more turquoisey blue, which I might use. I'll just see how I feel. So I'm going to pick up some paint and I'm going to start around the moon, just carefully painting that bit in. And you don't have to worry about having really smooth, careful painting, especially if you want to do something a little bit like the Van Gogh painting. where we might have a lot of swirls showing maybe the wind blowing through the tree. So I'm just picking up a little bit of water and just spreading my paint around a little bit, and that's going to make my paint a little bit lighter. So I could put some water into my palette and mix up some blue and paint the sky that way as well. So I think I will go for something quite Van Gogh in style, but let's put a little bit more of a different shade of blue in. So I'm going to mix a little bit of my turquoisey blue in and see what happens. Because I've mixed the two blues together, there isn't a huge difference in colour. If I want it to be darker, just take it directly from the paint. And if I want it to be lighter, mix it with a little bit of water. So that's me put the blue just with some water, but not mixed with the purpley blue, but I can kind of make them blend together just by working one on top of the other. So just have a little play with what you'd like to do. I'm going to make some paler bits by just putting some water down and just using the paint that's on there, spreading that around, and then maybe go to a darker area. Now you could do lines that go all the way out from the moon, which could be really, really nice, or you could have some other swirls going on. So you can take the paint quite dark directly from the palette like this, or more watery by mixing it in the lid. I think it's better not to try to plan exactly what you want to do and just let your brush move around and just see what happens. I'm starting everything off quite light because I can work darker paint over the top and build up as I go. So your aim is just to fill your sky with colour. So you might want something a little bit more purpley. If you don't have a purple, you can mix red and blue together. Just make sure that your blue is not one that's got any green in it, so this is the blue I will need to use. And make sure that your red is more of a pinky red and not an orangey type one. If you mix an orangey red, you will get brown. So I'm putting a bit of purple. You can put a bit of blue in as well, mix them together. Build it into other areas if I want to. I'm not planning in any way what I'm painting here. I'm just putting the paint down and just seeing what happens. It's easy to move the lines and change things as you maybe work some darker paint into the layer that's already down. So once you've got everything covered, you can decide what you might like to change, make darker, put more lines into if you want more lines. If you feel like it's too strong a line, a bit of water, and just blend it out. If you haven't got watercolour paper, just be careful not to go over and over the same area too much, as you will eventually sort of lift off some of the surface of the paper. Just mixing up a bit more purple to put into mine. So if you put something down and you feel like it's too dark, just clean your brush, dry it a little bit on a bit of tissue, and then you can just use your damp brush to blend it in as much as you want. Put more water on if you want to kind of get rid of it completely, or get it to blend in completely with what you've got around about it. So you can just keep moving things around and just enjoy the process of that. I'm just putting in a little bit more of a red into the blue colour just to make slightly warmer purple, just seeing what happens if I like it. I'm just working the last few bits of a darker colour over the top. Remember, a lot of this may be sort of just become background once the tree's on. So it's just about enjoying painting. There's nothing to stop you putting any colours you want into your sky, so feel free to experiment a little bit if you want to. So when you're happy with what you've got, then you find that perhaps your paper is quite wrinkled, then you just need to let that dry just for a short while until you know that you can draw on top of it. So when it's completely dry, your paper will flatten out, but it's dry now enough for me to draw on, as it's touch dry. And you're going to draw in just the very basic shapes of your tree, and then you're going to do most of the work with the paint. So you could have your tree sitting on top, or this time I'm going to actually put my tree around about here. And you only just want to draw in a couple of the most basic shapes. So I'm going to suggest you draw a sort of long, thin triangle, which is going to be one part of my trunk, and then I can let that grow a little bit, and then perhaps one more thick branch like so, and then everything else I'm going to do with my paintbrush. So I'm going to make the tree quite dark, and I'm going to use the black paint to do that. So I'm going to use the paint quite thick, directly from the paint. So I want to pick up a lot so it isn't too watery. And if you have a larger brush, then you want to just use just the tip of your brush, which will still give you a really nice point for painting. So you can turn your paper if that's easier, and just work out whatever is comfortable for you in terms of painting. So painting up, down, whichever way you want, or from side to side. So I'm just putting in my trunk shape. If you find that your paint is a little dry and it sort of feels like it's dragging, then just a little bit more water. And it's also easy to build up the black if it feels a little bit too pale. Don't worry, you can put more paint over the top to make it a stronger black if you want it to be. So you can decide what you'd like your tree to look like, how many branches, whether you want the tree to be swaying a little in the wind, a little bit more stylized maybe like this one here, or maybe you want to go for something that's a little bit more strong. So I'll do a tree that's a little less curving in the wind in this one, just for a bit of contrast. I'm just building up the thickness. I want to make my trunk a little thicker, I've decided, like so. And then once you've got to that stage, then it's really up to you what you do with your tree. So I'm going to take mine up to just the thinnest of points. So just using the very thinnest part of my brush to do that. And then I'm going to just add some side branches. So I always start thicker and then just take it to be thinner. And then from each of these, perhaps a few more. So I'll make that one a little longer. And of course you can extend those off as much as you like. So just let it kind of evolve on its own. It's probably the best way, and then you can gradually make your branches thicker, and I might eventually make my trunk a little thicker, and so on, so you can start to build it up a little bit as you go. So then I'm going to use this second main branch. I'm just going to make those a little thicker because I'm going to have a couple more shoots coming off of them. So I've got my 2 main branches in, so I can start to think about perhaps a few more. I'd like to have one going in front of the moon like I have here, so I'm going to take another branch down from my trunk. Let's make my trunk a little thicker. So now it feels quite unbalanced, so I'll put another branch maybe a little lower, maybe coming from around here. And you can see the paint will get blacker. Just working out where I want to add a few more. I think what I'll do is I'm going to make this one a little thicker, a little more. So you can let your tree dry once you're happy with the amount of black on there. And you can now add just the very most wateriest of blues onto your snow. And if you want to, you can add a little shadow to your tree. Perhaps a slight moonlight shadow. Just some wisps of blue onto the snow. And if you feel like it's too strong, just a little bit of water, a little damp brush. And just take care not to go onto your tree because you'll pick up the black paint. And it's up to you whether you want to make your blue a little stronger or a little softer, how much you want to put onto your snow. I'll leave mine there. And then the softest of blues or greys onto your moon, just in some sections, just to take some of the white off. So just some little patches of colour. And I'm just putting it just on one side, just like you might see in the moon, a little bit of a darker patch, and I can make it sort of quite blobs and touches. Like so. And then the final touch is to use your white pen, or if you don't have a white pen, you could use some thick white paint, or even a sort of Tipex type pen would work as well, to put on just a little bit of snow where you think it might settle. Depends on where you think the snow might have been coming in from. You can just have fun with this part. So you can see that it will work with your paint a little bit if your paint is still a bit wet, but you can just build it up slowly to get more of the white look if you want that over the top. And I guess it depends as well on the pen that you've got, or whether you're using a little bit of thick white paint. So you can build it till you're happy with it. So I'll just add a touch more snow, and then I'll let everything dry, take the tape off, and have a look at doing the last finishing touches. I've removed the tape now, and I'm just going to add a few little snowflakes just to complete the wintry scene. So you can add your snow wherever you like. Take your time and just enjoy adding those finishing touches to your painting. I really hope you enjoyed that painting, and I'd love to see all of your winter scenes. So as always, you can share them with me on Instagram or on Facebook, or send them to me by email. I'll put all the details below. And I'd love you to join me again to do another drawing or painting in the future. But until then, stay safe, take care of yourself and take care of each other, and I'll see you again soon.